Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah, wa ba'd. The Prophet ﷺ said, we'll repeat this one. Inna Allah kataba al-ihsana ala kulli shay. فَإِذَا قَتَلْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا الْقِتْلَةَ وَإِذَا ذَبَحْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا الذَّبْحَ وَلْيُحِدَّ أَحَدُكُمْ شَفْرَتَهُ فَلْيُرِحْ ذَبِيحَتَهُ. So the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah has decreed kindness for everything. Kataba al-ihsan, meaning ihsan can mean excellence, it can mean perfection, it can mean sincerity. In this context, when you look at the whole hadith, it kind of means kindness to the animal. So He has decreed kindness for everything. So when you kill an animal, do it properly. When you slaughter an animal, do it correctly by sharpening the edge of the knife and by relaxing the animal. So very straightforward, right? So the Prophet ﷺ saying that Allah has prescribed kindness or excellence. Excellence in the field of slaughtering an animal is to do what? Is to do it properly and to do it in a kind way. That's excellence. So excellence in this context is kindness towards the animal. And then he says when you kill. Now when you kill an animal, meaning what? When you kill the animal for food. When you're slaughtering the animal for food. Why? Because as we mentioned before, animal has been created to use but not to be abused. So when you do that, you do it properly. Properly meaning in the best of ways. Alright? Do it in the best of ways. So how do you do that? Now the Prophet is explaining some rules. What are these rules? Number one, you sharpen the edge of the knife. Right? If you don't sharpen the edge of your knife and your knife is blunt or your knife is dull, what's going to happen? It's just going to be injured. It's not going to cut through. The blood is not going to pour out and the animal is just going to be suffering with an injury rather than actually dying. And this is something which is causing harm to the animal. And then he said, فَلْيُرِحْ ذَبِيحَتَهُ. And put the animal to, relax the animal. Put the animal at ease. Now, so what do the scholars say? That the best way of doing this to the animal is, number one, you should actually feed the animal a little bit before it dies, so it's not starving. It's not hungry. You give it a little bit of food. If any of you been to the slaughterhouse before? Who's been to a slaughterhouse for slaughtering an animal? A few people, okay? One sister, mashallah. Alhamdulillah. So it's a good experience. It's a good thing that you should actually at least do once in your life. You understand what's happening. So you give the animal some extra water, some food, make sure it's feeling a little bit good. When you slaughter, you don't slaughter it. You don't slaughter another animal while another one is watching and it's about to come in line. Because imagine, that it knows what's happening. It's not that, it's not as dumb as we think. So don't let it watch if you can, as much as possible. Today, in most factories, it's on a conveyor belt. Perhaps they're seeing, perhaps they have no idea what's happening because they don't even see what's happening on the conveyor belt. But the best thing is, it should be done in a way where the animal cannot see. So now the animal's comfortable, it doesn't know what's happening. You pet the animal, you caress it a little bit, so that it's feeling relaxed, it's feeling good. And then you turn it around immediately and you slaughter it quickly. So that the blood comes out and it dies as painful as possible. It dies as soon as possible. So this is the best way. Now here's the thing. Today, there's a big debate going on in Europe in particular, where many European countries and European secular groups, it's funny, they're the leftist groups actually, they're trying to outlaw Islamic and kosher slaughtering. So they want to ban completely zabiha and they want to ban kosher slaughtering even among the Jews. Why? What is their argument? The argument is they say this is barbaric and inhumane to the animals because you're not stunning the animals. Now the problem with that argument is, what does stunning the animal mean? There's a difference between giving the animal anesthesia and stunning the animal. So stunning the animal, the way that animals are stunned generally is today, most chickens in America are stunned with the electric current. And that's a reversible stun. So you put an electric current on them. If you left them for a few minutes, they become immobilized, they can't move. If you dip them in some water and you put an electric current through it, so they become stunned. How much pain do they feel to that electric stun? It's not been researched properly. But, if you want to try it one day yourself, you put some water in the current and everything. If you're really an animal rights activist, you really feel that this is, go ahead and test it yourself and let us know how it feels. and whether the chickens are feeling something. And then what do you do afterwards? Then the animal gets killed. That's chickens. In Europe, in some places in the UK, the way they would kill the chicken is they take a giant hammer and they hit it over the head, which means it becomes 100% unlawful for us to eat. Even if the most orthodox of Orthodox Jews is doing that, we're not allowed to eat that. And we're going to cover that in the third quarter in class. But the thing is, they do that sometimes. When it comes to cows and when it comes to other animals, they generally use what's called something bolt gun. What is it called? What's the name of it? Anyways, it's a bolt gun basically. No, it has something bolt gun. It's like it pulls back. I forgot what the name is. Anyways, so basically it's a gun where you shoot it and it fires a bolt out, and then it comes back inside. So it's not actually a bullet. It's a bolt. It's just a big piece of metal comes out and comes back inside, but it comes out so fast that it's like a bullet almost coming out. So they use that and they shoot the bolt through the brain of the animal. They shoot it through the head. So they say now that the animal is stunned, it's not going to feel the same amount of pain while we're slaughtering it. And you guys are slaughtering and the animal's feeling pain. The problem obviously is getting stunned, getting a metal bolt through your head is not exactly that humane either. Right? So the thing is, that's a very bad argument. But anyways, just be aware of that this is taking place. This is actually the most humane and the best way of slaughtering an animal. There can't be anything better than this. Unless they could devise a way to give the animal anesthesia. If there was a way to give the animal like some kind of anesthetic where it's not feeling the pain from the cut, and it's not, causing problem to the meat inside because it has chemicals from the anesthetic and all of that, then that would be perhaps like one step greater, and Muslims would accept that. Muslims would be willing to accept that. But the whole stunning issue and all of that, it's becoming problematic. So anyway, there's a lot of debate in Europe taking place about that. In America, the stunning happens, but people are not trying to outlaw Islamic slaughter or kosher slaughter. Probably because they have different mentality anyway. So there's different reasons for that. So just be aware of that this is the Islamic way. Even an animal. Now this is a really interesting observation that one scholar made. He made a very nice point. He said, think about this. You have to take effort to to sharpen your knife, relax the animal, and the animal's about to die. In 1 minute, the animal's about to die. And you have to take special precaution just to make sure that the animal's going to die. He said, if you look at this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah has decreed excellence in everything that you do. Right? Decreed excellence in everything that you do. So what does that mean? He could have used an example. He wanted to give here's one example of ihsan, of excellence. What example could he have used? He could have said, the ihsan, the best way of praying, is when you focus 100% such that, even if a building fell down next to you, you wouldn't even notice the building fell down. Right? That's ihsan in worship. He could have used an example from prayer. He could have used an example from fasting. He could have used an example from Hajj. You don't say a single bad word and you smile the whole time during Hajj. Right? While other people are getting furious and losing their temper and all of that, he could have used any example. The example that he chose to use is of an animal, not even a human being, an animal, and an animal at the last moment of its life. So basically what he's trying to say is, the Prophet ﷺ chose the thing which would seem like the smallest, most like petty type of example of being excellent in that. Because animal's going to die anyways. And he says, if that's the case, when the animal's about to die, can you imagine all the other cases that you should be excellent in? How are you with the animal when it's going to live? How are you with human beings when they're alive? If you're treating animals this way, how about human beings? If you're going and doing all of these things, how about how about your acts of worship? This is the rights of creatures, creation. How about the rights of Allah? How about the rights in your worship? So he's basically, the point he's making is, the Prophet ﷺ made a general statement. Allah has prescribed excellence in everything. But then he specified the bare minimum, the thing which would seem like the smallest thing, nobody would really care about it. And he said, excellence is to care about that small thing. That means that in everything else bigger than that, you should care even more. Does that make sense? Does the point make sense? Yeah? Okay. So questions, yeah. Yeah, That's probably not necessary because the fish would die anyways, right? But with fish don't need to be slaughtered. But if they don't need to be punished, whichever one turns out to be more humane. If it turns out that it happens to be more humane to hit the fish, I don't know. I mean, someone should do some research and figure out which one is better. No, I doubt that the store owners have done the research though. Yes. Yeah, that's a problem. So cooking the animals alive is a problem. Just so that you can get a little bit extra flavor out of it, or the meat is a little bit more tender or something like that. I know, but a lot of restaurants do that, and people claim that the meat is more tender. That's what they claim. So what we do is, if you go there, just tell them, look, I would like to let it get killed. Yeah, kill it, and then cook it for me. And that's it. Well, there is a hadith that says the animals make dua for the person of knowledge. So perhaps when you're taking care of them, they could also be making dua for you as well. So that's a hadith that I know. Yeah, just leave them out of the water till they die. I mean, that's I'm not a specialist in fishing or something. I think that's the standard default, right? And that's the way people used to do it. Just catch the fish, just put it there, it'll move around a little bit, and it'll die. It'll die very fast. You just tell them next time, say, excuse me, I would like the non-hit fish or something like that, you know. Or you can make more dawah with them. I would like the non-tortured fish, please. No, thank you. I'm Muslim and I only eat non-tortured fish. So that's fine. All right, so the next hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّ مِنْ خِيَارِكُمْ أَحْسَنَكُمْ أَخْلَاقًا. The best of you are those who are the best in character. Very simple. The best of you are those who have the best akhlaq, the best character, the best etiquette. So, you, the best of you, we've seen this many times, right? You is referring to you believers, the Muslims. The Prophet ﷺ speaking to his companions. The best of you are those who are the best in character. So, see, the word best has been used twice. This is a type of, I don't know if I want to go into this. I'll go into it a little bit. This is a type of style that the Prophet ﷺ uses, right? That the Arabic language uses, the Quran uses it as well. So you'll find in places of the Quran where, so here it says khiyar and ahsan. So khiyar means like the best, and ahsan means like the nicest or the best. So the words that are used are the twice. So if you want to be the best Muslim, you have to be the best. You have to have the best character. So the best and the best are used. This is a very common feature in Arabic. In the Quran, you'll find, for example, some people don't understand, why does it say in the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah, it says, they plot against Allah, or not in Baqarah, somewhere else in the Quran, they're plotting against Allah, إِنَّهُمْ يَكِيدُونَ كَيْدًا وَأَكِيدُ كَيْدًا. They're plotting against Allah, and Allah is the best of plotters, right? Allah is plotting against them. So you say, what do you mean Allah plots? Allah is like actually planning some plan against them. Why is Allah doing that? And you get like a connotation like that's weird. The reason why that's used, it means Allah is going to take care of them. But the reason why the second word was used is because it's trying to match the first word. Right? So for example, those people in Surah Al-Baqarah, I was going to give you the example. They make fun of the believers. They mock the believers, but Allah mocks them. Right? So you say, why does Allah mock? Why does Allah make fun of somebody? That doesn't make sense. Why would Allah make fun of somebody? Because they were making fun of the believers, it means Allah is going to punish them. But the word punish, instead of using the word punish, the word used was the same word that they were using. They used to be punished because of them mocking the believers. Now Allah is using the same word, mock. So they mock the believers, Allah is going to be mocking them. Meaning He's going to take care of them as well. So this is a type of thing that's used in Arabic. You should know about it. We're going to cover it more probably in the principles of fiqh class next year, inshallah. All right, so, and then he says, the best of you are the best in character. Okay, what is the character? Character means there's character when you're alone, and there's character when you're in front of others. Meaning the way that you treat other people, as well as the way that you treat yourself. So that's your character, the style at which you have. So what do you mean? Most people know character in front of other people. Somebody says something makes you upset. If you start going up really mad and you start cursing somebody, that's bad character. Now, if you're alone, right, and you drop something or something breaks, and you start cussing and no one's watching you, and you start getting mad and say, why does this have to happen? You still have bad character, although nobody else saw it. It's something is wrong in your character. Now the Prophet ﷺ is saying, if you want to be the best of Muslims, you need to have what? You need, one of the prerequisites is that you have to have the best character. But it doesn't work the other way around. If you have the best character, but you don't pray, you don't worship Allah, you don't fast, you don't fulfill any of the other obligations, are you the best Muslim? No. It's one prerequisite that you need to have if you want to be the best, but it's not everything. And a lot of people, they fall into confusion and they think, but this guy has such good akhlaq and this guy has such bad akhlaq. How can he be closer to Allah than this one? Well, this guy, he said, this guy is praying but he has bad akhlaq. And this guy, he doesn't pray but mashallah, he has such great akhlaq. From your perspective, which one is more beneficial to you of these two people? The one with the good akhlaq. Because his not praying is not necessarily going to affect you. He's violating a right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But when we start talking about, these Muslims in that area, they're so bad and everything. These non-Muslims, they're such good and they have such good character in this area. And mashallah, they do all these great things. And then people sometimes, they step one further step and they go, I think these people should be going to hellfire and I think these people should be going to Jannah. That's not for us to judge. Because just because they fulfilled your rights, they violated the rights of Allah. Now these people are bad, they're not doing the right thing. These people also are doing something wrong because they're not fulfilling the rights of Allah. So when you see somebody's akhlaq good, somebody's akhlaq bad, you're judging them based upon your own interaction with them. But don't judge them in terms of their akhirah. Because Allah judges based upon two things. Have they fulfilled the rights of Allah by worshipping Allah? And have they fulfilled the rights of other people? So it's very important. We'll cover that more in theology, Aqidah class, inshallah. Any questions on this hadith? Okay, next hadith. We'll repeat this. The Prophet ﷺ said, تَبَسُّمُكَ فِي وَجْهِ أَخِيكَ لَكَ صَدَقَةً. Your smile to your brother is a charity for you. Very simple. Your smile is a charity. Right? Anyone seen those t-shirts? Even a smile is charity. Right? So, mashallah, this is great. This is where it comes from. Now you know the source. What does the T stand for? Tirmidhi. Right? Now you know the source. What is the grading? Is it authentic or it's not authentic? It's Hasan, which means what? Which means what? Yeah. It's good. It's sufficiently authentic. Sufficiently authentic, so it's a good hadith. We can take it. Alright, so the Prophet ﷺ said, your smile to your brother is a charity for you. Your smile, now smile is pretty universal, right? When you smile at somebody, most cultures, smile is a good thing. Right? It's considered to be great and has a great impact. When you smile at somebody, it has a really big impact. And when you frown at somebody else, it has a big impact on them. They're going to remember your frown and they're going to remember your smile. So it makes a big difference. This small little thing takes a little bit of effort, but it's going to have a great impact. Right? And one scholar, actually Dr. Sakhr, he always mentions, he says, how many muscles does it take you to smile? He said, how many? I think he mentioned less than that, something like that. He mentioned it takes a very few amount of muscles to smile. How many muscles does it take you to frown? You have to mess up here. This one scrunches up. This one scrunches up. It takes so many muscles, so it's actually easier to smile. So smile. It's nice. It's motivating. So the Prophet says, your smile to your brother. Now to your brother, remember we talked about this, I believe, that Imam San'ani and other scholars, they say that unless the context is specific to Muslims, it can also apply to non-Muslims as well. So he gives this example and he says this can apply to non-Muslims. So to your brother, meaning even your brother in humanity, smiling at them is a great form of, makes them happy, and it's a great way of explaining to them, I'm a Muslim, this is what we do, all of these things. And then it's a charity for you, right? So what does charity mean? Charity is you're giving somebody else benefit. Sometimes you're feeding a person, sometimes you're helping a person into their vehicle or removing obstruction from the road, like we talked about these different hadith. So here, you're giving somebody a benefit. You're not giving them food. What are you giving them? What are you giving them? A good feeling, contentment, right? They feel good. If you go, right, like I think I already used the In-N-Out example, right? But the example, if you go to a place and you're ordering some food or something even, and the person goes, yeah, what do you want? And that's it. You want fries? You want fries? No? Okay, fine. And then somebody comes and then they say, hello, how are you doing today? Would you like some fries with that? And you're like, at least you feel, even if you had a bad day, you at least that smile and being nice has an effect on you. It makes a big difference, right? Even if you're in the worst of mood, you're like, okay, I'm in a bad mood, but because you're nice, I'm not going to take it out on you today, right? It makes a difference. So smile actually is a charity because you're giving a benefit to somebody else. You're not giving them money, you're giving them some kind of contentment, some kind of happiness, some kind of pleasure at the fact that you're smiling at them, right? Of course, you just have to be careful, especially sisters, need to be careful with the brothers. That if the smile gets, too smiley, then it can give the wrong impression. So be careful about that. Otherwise, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. All right, inshallah. Any questions on that? Yes. Yes. So in those cases, when it's not appropriate to smile in front of somebody, you should not smile. It doesn't mean that, okay, smile is a charity. Let's say you're in a place where it's not appropriate. You're having a very serious meeting. Somebody just passed away. You're at the graveyard or something. And all of a sudden, somebody goes, let's start smiling because it's a charity. That's not the place. That's not the time. So if it's inappropriate or someone's going to get the wrong idea, you're smiling at them, they may think of something else, then that's not the place to smile. Just don't do something bad that's going to have a bad effect on them. No. I think I understand. I get you. Yeah, I think there are two extremes. There are really two extremes in our community. One is that the sisters will never smile. It's like very cold to any guy or something like that. Just never can do any type of smile. That's one extreme, really, and we do have it in our community. I was talking about the second extreme, which is also a problem where the sister is smiling and smiling, the brother is smiling, and I'm giving her sadaqah, and I'm giving him sadaqah too, and it gets to a point where it really becomes flirtatious. And people get the wrong idea. That's the thing. So you're right. We need a balance. It needs to be a proper balance in between. No, I know what you're talking about. You're right. Absolutely has to be a proper balance in between the two. Doesn't mean you be cold to people either. That's not the solution. So yeah, balance is key. All right. Let's continue with this next hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said, "لا تحقرن من المعروف شيئا." وَلَوْ أَن تَلْقَى أَخَاكَ بِوَجْهٍ طَلْقٍ. Do not think little of anything which is right, even meeting your brother with a cheerful face. Right? So, again, this is about smile, cheerful face and everything. Do not think little of anything which is right, ma'ruf, meaning which is good. So don't consider any good deed to be something small. Even a small good deed is something big, is nice. Don't think of it like, oh, it's just a tiny good deed. No, it's still something very important. So consider a small good deed as something big. Don't consider it as something small, because it's still a good deed. So the example he gave is, even if you meet your brother or your sister or whoever with a cheerful face. So meeting them with a nice, friendly, smiling face is also, because we talked about what is the effect that it has. People are going to be happy. They're going to, be nice. Maybe they'll smile back. They'll become happy, make their day, whatever it is. Okay? So same kind of hadith. And this is in Muslim. So it's even more authentic than the previous one. So it was just to emphasize the previous hadith in case somebody says, well, I don't accept Hasan hadith. And there are people who do that, which they shouldn't. So you have one from which is Sahih, from a Muslim, and you could say, well, if you don't like that one, here's a backup for you. And khalas, and move on, and then smile, and then walk away. So, okay. Any questions on this? No, Botox, unless there's some medical necessity, like your face is deformed or something, Botox can be used. Other than that, like the whole, oh, look, you get your face, whatever, Botox in there, no, it's not going to, unless it's a medical need or something like that. Okay. Next hadith. The Prophet ﷺ, where am I? The Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا كُنْتُمْ ثَلَاثًا فَلَا يَتَنَاجَى اثْنَانِ دُونَ صَاحِبِهِمَا فَإِنَّ ذَلِكَ يُحْزِنُ. When you are, this is very important. When you are three people together, three or more, when you're three people together, two people in that group should not speak together privately apart from the third person, because that might sadden the other person. Okay? So now let's look at the hadith. When you're three people together, three or more, three doesn't mean only three, meaning at least three. Okay? Because it makes sense, obviously, in this case. Two should not speak together privately apart from the third. Privately meaning you got three people in your group or four people in your group, and two of them come together and say, Start whispering a secret. What do you think the third person is doing? I'm excluded from this. I don't even, I don't matter at all. Or you start having a little conversation and they're just sitting there. Or another common problem in ours, you start speaking another language. Very common in the Muslim communities, right? One person is coming and, 3 people are there, new Muslim or some American or something. So, كيف حالك أخي? أنا بخير الحمد لله كل شيء تمام ما شاء الله الحمد لله. And the other guy's looking at you, so, what is he saying? Or he starts speaking in Urdu, क्या हाल है सब ठीक है alhamdulillah सब ठीक है. The other person doesn't know what you're saying. Maybe they think, maybe they're talking about me. I don't know, why are they speaking in a foreign language? So this falls in the same category. And this is a big, big problem in Muslim gatherings. Is that you see people in your group and you just go off in some foreign language, or you start going and having a little conversation or something. If the group is big enough, let's say there's a circle of people, and you want to start, you don't have anything in common with these people, right? So you want to focus on your group and you want to talk to them. Having a conversation with them because they relate to the topic, that would be okay, because this group is sitting there, the entire group is kind of excluded because it's not their topic. So they can start splitting up in their own group and start talking amongst themselves. The whole point is, if you're going to be in any situation where someone is going to feel very uncomfortable, right? When you start changing the language or talking about a different topic or whispering here and there, that's not going to be allowed. Right? Unless it's like necessary, or like you're telling the guy, this is the guy who ripped me off last week. Don't do business with him. Obviously, if that's going to upset him, that's tough. You have to tell the other person. But other than that, there's no reason to do these kind of things. Why? Because it might sadden the other person, and it's bad behavior. It's considered to be bad behavior. So, because the person feels like they're being excluded, the person may think you're talking about them. The person's, what about me? Why do I not get into this? So this is a good social etiquette to follow, inshallah. Any questions on this? Okay, so you start whispering then, or what? So how would you talk then? You continue talking, or is it private or non-private? How would you deal with that? Okay, so if that situation, let's say you're talking and someone else comes into your talk in the middle, they don't understand what's going on, you're trying to, figure out the problems of the, certain country or whatever, the world or whatever it is, and someone comes in and you've been in the middle of a conversation. So either you could tell them, if they start butting in or, giving their opinion or something, say, well, we kind of already discussed these issues before. You can either ask them to leave, or you can kind of slowly, mashallah, nice to meet you and everything. And then, Muhammad, let's continue our conversation and walk away. But don't make it seem like they're part of the group and then you exclude them while they're part of the group. So you separate them out from the group, and that's fine. You can just walk away. As long as it's clear to them that they've been separated out and now they're not part of this group anymore, then it's going to be fine. So that's probably the best way to go about it. Okay? Next hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said, وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَيُبْغِضُ الْفَاحِشَ الْبَذِيءَ. Allah hates foul language. It cannot get any simpler than this. This should be like the Muslim youth group t-shirt across the country, right? Across the country. Because this is becoming a big problem among younger people especially. And it's not like older people don't use bad language, they use foul language as well. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hates it. What does that mean? It means that you're going to be held accountable for that. Allah hates it, that means it's sinful. And people say, well, using what? Using the F word and using these things sometimes, it's really sinful? Yes, it's really sinful. Not only is it sinful, on top of that, Allah hates it. Allah dislikes it, could be one thing. Allah hates this kind of language. All right, and the very authentic hadith, right? Now, foul language. What is foul language? Foul language is generally what is considered to be foul in the society in which you live, right? So if you say in America, your bloody hands, right? What does that mean? It doesn't mean a thing. You say that in the UK, and that's bad language. It's not bad, but it's a very inappropriate language. Because the word bloody has a context which is a bad word in the UK, in England. But it doesn't apply in America. So if you were to apply that in some context in America, it doesn't really mean anything. No one's going to understand anything from it. So it doesn't have a meaning. So it depends on the context in which you live. It depends on the place in which you live. So whatever is going to be considered foul, or has like a negative effect, people dislike that, they consider it to be a very vulgar word, it's going to apply. Now here's the question. People say, well, we're redefining what bad language is. So amongst my friends, amongst my group of friends, amongst the people that I hang out with, we understand, we're only using the F word for emphasis. It's purely to emphasize the point that we're trying to bring home. Say, well, if you went for a job interview, would you emphasize the point by using that same word? No, you wouldn't. If you're going and talking to your manager at work or something, would you emphasize the point? Say, you know what? I sold this many burgers. Right? You would not use that word to emphasize the point. So it's not actually the custom and culture of the region in which you live. You made your own little, gang or little crew or whatever it is. You say that you guys have redefined it. I get this question a lot. That's why I'm clarifying it. It's very, very common question. Well, among the group that I hang around with, we've redefined it and it's okay. We understand each other. So it's the place in which you live. You can define it as city. You can define it as state. You can define it as country. It's not been declared to be okay in that society, right? Across the board. Therefore, it's not something which you should be using, right? And there are some words which have a gray area, some words which are clearly obscene, and some words which are clearly okay. So it's best to avoid the gray area as much as possible, and the words that are clearly obscene should not be used at all. Should not be used at all, and should never come out of a Muslim's mouth. No matter how angry you are, no matter how upset you are, no matter what happened, what thing fell on the floor and broke, whatever it is, none of these things should be used. Okay? And we'll cover that more, inshallah, in the purification of the heart class next quarter. Any questions on this? Okay, next hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Al-isti'zanu thalath, فَإِنْ أُذِنَ لَكَ وَإِلَّا فَارْجِعْ." You should ask permission to enter for 3 times. Ask permission to enter 3 times. If you are given permission, you may enter. If not, you should go away. Very, very simple rule, right? So you should ask permission to enter. Enter what? Enter a house, enter a building, enter anything that belongs to somebody else, right? Ask for permission. If you're given permission through any means, so if somebody, pushes the buzzer and the door opens, that means they give you permission to enter. If somebody, sends you a text message, say, okay, come in. Or they say, when you come, the door is open, just come up. Then you don't need permission. You don't need to say, well, I read the hadith and I have to wait for permission. They gave you permission. So the thing is, you ask for permission through any means, 3 times. You knock on the door, not answering. You knock on the door again, not answering. You knock on the door a 3rd time, they're not answering, you need to leave. You stop bothering the people. They don't want to see you, right? They're busy, or they don't have time for you, whatever it is. You go away. It means that the person is occupied and you don't want to annoy people. Very simple rule. You don't want to annoy people, so go away. But there are some people, they just won't leave, man. They'll just keep knocking and waiting there 5 minutes and everything. Maybe the person is, in the bathroom. Maybe they're doing something else. They're busy. They don't want to see you. Don't annoy people and just leave. Very simple principle. And you can apply it to all other aspects of life. Somebody's going and trying to talk to you, and you're like, I'll talk to you about it later. Like, no, can I talk about this? No, I'm going to talk about it. Really, now is not the time. You come 1 minute later. How about now? No, not now. Don't annoy the people. Right? Like those kids, the kids. Are we there yet? No. Are we there yet now? No, we're not there yet. Stop asking now, right? You're annoying me. So, of course, you wouldn't talk to your kids like that. But you get the point. Any questions? 1 series of knocks counts as one asking for permission. Same with the bell. Same with the bell. If you're one of those people who rings the bell 3 times per ring, then yeah. So the Prophet ﷺ said, "La yuqimu rajulu rajula." Sorry. "La yuqimu rajulu rajula min majlisihi thumma yajlisu fihi." None of you should make a man get up from his place and then sit in it. And then sit in that place. You'd be surprised at how often this happens, right? You come up and you go, hey, in some social gathering, this is my chair. Or this is known to be my chair. The guy has to get up or something like that. It's not good. So make, or even allow. Even if somebody is allowing you, say, oh, no, come, sit here. It's better you don't take that person's chair unless the person insists. They say, no, because you're such an elder or you're a person we respect very much. We would like you to sit in our place. Then if they insist, you can do that. But don't make. See, it becomes a habit in some cultures where you walk in and everyone tries to give the chair to you or something like that. Don't make it such that the person would be bothered after giving up his seat or something like that. So just don't do that. And then sit. So basically when you do that, what will you do? You're giving special status to yourself. Like, this is my chair. Like, I deserve to sit in that chair or something like that. That person, you've taken their right. It's their right because they sat there first. If you had gotten there first and they took your seat, then maybe you have a right to it back. So it doesn't work that way. You have to make sure that you don't take the right of somebody else. So basic social etiquette. If we follow these type of things, we'll have a much better society, inshallah. Any questions? That's separate. So there's he's talking about like the man of the house, the father in the house has his own chair. No one's allowed to sit in that chair except him. So that's a special chair. That's like some cultures have that. Many cultures have that. That's the same hadith about you being allowed to lead the prayer no matter who's in your house. So the same hadith is when you're in your house, you get to lead prayer and no one's allowed to sit in your chair if it's your marked chair. But if it's like general chairs, then it's open to everyone. Okay, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man qama min majlisihi, thumma raja'a ilayhi, fahuwa ahaqqu bih." When one of you gets up from his place and then returns to it, he's more entitled to it. So the chair is saved for you. Okay, so if you sat down and everyone knows you sat down and you left, that chair was yours. You had marked it at that point in time. All right, so one of you, meaning any person, from his place because he sat there first. So you sit there, that's your place. Now that means like in one gathering. Right? So if you sat in the previous class and then we went for lunch break and you come back, you're like, that was my chair, I was sitting there. Not really, because we went for lunch break. Now it resets. Now it's not your chair. But if you go for break time and all of a sudden you come back from your break and all of a sudden your backpack is gone, it's sitting somewhere else. Say, this is my chair now. No, this is a small break. This was not a lunch break. It's the same class. So you can't kick somebody else out because they sat there first. And he says they're more entitled to it. This is a social norm that the Prophet ﷺ is establishing and it's based on fairness and it's respected in Islam as well. So the Prophet ﷺ is establishing this so that people don't start arguing and fighting and getting into disputes and all of that. It's very simple. It's what we call common courtesy, but it's been sanctioned and approved by Islam as well. So it's something that people should follow. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ never criticized food. He never criticized food. If he liked it, he ate it, and if he disliked it, he left it. Very simple. This is, even the way the narrator is narrating seems so simple. We make things so complicated, right, all the time, but there's no need for that. So the Prophet ﷺ never criticized food. Meaning what? He would never say that, this food is so bad, or this food is that, or he would never, because the food itself it's food in the end of the day. So, but it means that there are some foods that he disliked. Okay? So if he disliked something, then what did he do? He used to leave it. And if he liked it, he would eat it. So the thing is, if somebody dislikes a certain type of food, you can't say, Allah has created all of these things, and who are you to, not like this certain type of food? The Prophet ﷺ didn't like certain types of food. He didn't like eating lizard. Dub, like a land lizard, iguana type of lizard. He didn't like it, so he didn't eat it. How many of you like that land lizard, iguana? You like lizard? Have you ever eaten lizard before? Okay, so you're one of the few people, right, who's done it. Otherwise, the Prophet ﷺ, he didn't like it. But Khalid ibn Walid, he loved it. He devoured that entire thing when he got permission to eat it. So it means people have different tastes. And what ends up happening is we have these cultures where people say, these Arabs, they can't even handle any spicy food. I don't know what's wrong with their tongues, And then the Arabs are looking at like the desis. My goodness, these people are like putting pepper spray on their food or something like that, right? It's like, what in the world is going on? These people have no feeling, no sensation in their tongue, what's going on? So, that's not the way to be looking at, these people, they're so weird. And people look at Chinese people, and they're, they eat some weird seafood, it's like, some weird thing. I don't know what kind of medley of seafood they're eating or whatever. Don't look down upon food itself. The food itself is not the problem. Unless it's like, I don't know, they're eating something really, really like that's bad for you. The food is not the problem. So respect the taste of everyone. The Prophet ﷺ never criticized the food itself. If he liked something, he ate it. If he disliked it, he had taste as well. If he disliked it, then he left it. What does that mean? It means, one, it doesn't mean that other people can't eat it. He would leave it. And he would try not to waste it. Now, leaving it usually meant that you have a plate of food. They used to have big plates of food. If he didn't like one portion, he would leave it. Somebody else would come and eat it. Now, today we have a problem is we waste a lot of food. So I don't like this, I'm not going to eat it. I don't like this. What you need to be very careful about this. So if you know you don't like a certain type of food, you tell the people, before ordering, say, you know what, does this come with, let's say, onions, and you don't like onions, right? I happen to not like onions unless they're cooked. So I tell the person, okay, look, does this come with raw onions? Yes. Okay, don't put raw onions in there. No, but sir, it's free. So no, I know it's free, I understand. It comes with the plate. I don't want it though. Say, okay, can I put it on the side for you? No, don't put it on the side either, because I'm not going to eat it, and I don't have anyone else who will eat it. So just put that out of there. And if you can't finish the food, then order it without whatever you don't want to eat, right? Or order as much as you can, right? So don't waste food either. But when the Prophet ﷺ left it, he would leave it, and other people would eat it in his stead. Okay? Questions? You don't have to hate the animal. You don't have to hate the pork or the pig itself. It's considered to be an unclean animal, and that's why Allah has prohibited for us. But you don't need to kick a pig every time you walk by or something like that. No, that's not the point. So no, there's no need for that. There's no need for that. Just dislike the fact, like some people are repulsed by pork, like the smell of pork. Like I personally can't stand it. I feel that's a blessing. It's actually a blessing when you're repulsed by it, because you'll never want to even try and eat it. Even one day you're like, oh, well, let me just, for the heck of it, I'm in a bad mood, I'll just do it anyway. You wouldn't want to do it anyways, right? So that being repulsed against the thing which is forbidden for you, which is eating it, that's going to be fine. But hating the pig or something like that, it's in and of itself, that's not something that Allah has prescribed for us. If you do, that's fine. If you dislike some animal, it just doesn't appeal to you or something, that's fine. But you don't have to, like as a Muslim, your iman is not complete until you start hating those pigs. No, that's not required. It's not required. All right? But generally, yes, you're allowed to give it away. Why? Because even in an Islamic state, Christians are allowed to buy and sell and eat pork, even if they're living as minorities under a Muslim state. So when Muslims control a certain land, it's not a responsibility on them to eliminate pigs from the entire, the land. So they're allowed to, Christians have always been allowed to continue to eat their pork, even when they were living as minorities under Muslims. So therefore, in this kind of context, you could give it to a non-Muslim to eat. There shouldn't be any problem with that. When it comes to wine though, when it comes to intoxicating beverage, it's different. So there's two different things, because when they get intoxicated, they can go do something bad. So there's two separate categories of that. Okay, so be careful of that. Yeah, okay, let's read this. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Man u'tiya ata'an fawajada falyajzi bih, wa man lam yajid falyuthni, fa inna man athna faqad shakar, wa man katama faqad kafar." Anyone who is given a gift and is pleased with it should give something back in return. If he does not have anything, he should praise the gift. Whoever praises it has been thankful for it. Whoever conceals it has been ungrateful. So, anyone who's been given a gift, somebody gives you a gift and you're happy. Very nice gift, I'm very happy with it. The best thing you should do is give a gift in return. Now, don't look at the value though, okay? Don't say, oh, well, it looks like they tried to scratch off the label, right? And I can see that it was $20. So I'm going to go get a $20 gift. Not more, not less. That's reciprocating, right? We talked about that before. So if you're pleased with it, even if it's something small, appreciate the gesture that the person made. So don't benefit from somebody else without giving them some benefit back. So the Islamic thing to do, the good thing to do, is give them a gift in return. So that you keep on exchanging gifts. And if you don't have anything to give, or if you don't want to give anything for whatever reason, it's time to buy a gift or whatever, at least praise the gift. At least tell the person, thank you. At bare minimum, say, this is such a nice gift, thank you so much. I really appreciate what you've done for me. Whoever praises it has been thankful for it. So if you praise it, you've been thankful for it. And if you conceal it, meaning you don't even, you're like, oh, You just keep it and you use it, you like the gift, but you don't even, say anything about it. That means you've been ungrateful to that gift, for that gift. So you've been ungrateful to who? You've been ungrateful to the person, right? Because you've benefited from that gift. You enjoyed it, but you're being ungrateful for that to that person. So that's not good behavior. And that's not something that is becoming of a Muslim. Okay? So any questions on this hadith? Now, see, the thing is, people shouldn't make a judgment on cultures unless they properly understand the culture. So in today's culture, right, like your circumstance, if that person gives you the gift, right, and then you accept the gift and you praise it, say thank you very much, it's a very nice gift. Now, if you go and you ask the person and you're wearing your hijab and they know that you're a Muslim and everything, and you say, I thank you for the gift. And if I were to go in the corner and say, you know what, that Muslim, she just accepted your gift. What do you think about that? Are they going to say, yeah, that's a proof that she's actually a Christian? They're not going to say that, right? So it's a misunderstanding of the culture. If you lived in a culture where it would be 100% clear that, you accepted that gift, you're with us. Like a politician. The healthcare company comes and says, we're just giving you a small gift of $200,000, just a donation to your campaign. If you accept that, yes, it means that you're becoming an accomplice to some things, that they want something out of you. So if the culture dictates it, then it's going to count. If the culture doesn't dictate it, it's not going to count. And in this case, I don't think anyone who accepts a gift from somebody else, and it's clear that you're a Muslim, they're not going to say, oh yes, we got him. Now they've accepted, Jesus Christ as their savior or something because they accepted our, bottle of apple juice or something like that we gave them. I don't think that applies in this culture. Giving the gift at Christmas is different. Giving is different and receiving is different. Now, if you get something at Christmas and you say, okay, I'm going to give them something back on Eid Day, or I'm going to give them something back, a few weeks later, just as a, hi neighbor or whatever it is, that's something different. But not connected with Christmas, without the Christmas card attached or something like that, that's different. It means that generally you're supposed to be pleased with all the gifts. But I mean, if like the gift is like horrible, they got you like something insulting or something, then obviously you don't need to return the gift, right? You don't return it with an insulting gift or something like that. But I mean, generally you appreciate small gifts, whether they're, you find some pleasure in the fact they gave you a gift generally, right? If it's so bad that you don't have any happiness in what they've given you, then yeah, you don't need to give anything back. But you don't need to like curse them either or something. That's fine. You thank them for the gift. You praise the gift. Oh, they give you the thing. They think you're accepting Christianity by accepting the gift? Yeah. Okay, in your context, then don't do it. Because your specific family, they may be pressuring you or something, is different. If they're putting a lot of pressure on you and you know what they're doing, you know their intention, then no, it's your family. It's your family, man. They shouldn't be bribing. You can accept gifts from your own family, right? And they can give you whenever they want. As long as there's not major hostility between you guys, it's your family. They can give you a gift whenever they want. So don't take it as a bad sign. Any other questions before we conclude? This is the last slide for today. We covered animal rights and social etiquette. Okay? Everything is clear? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to practice upon these things. Ameen. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wa salamun ala al-mursaleen. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Assalamu alaikum.